are 30 miles north of Detroit, where championships have been won. This is the Palace of Auburn Hills, and tonight, 22,000 strong, they are on hand. There is not a seat to be had in this building. It's a huge game for big stars like Jason Kidd, his first Game 7. And Wallace has been here before, others with one last word before 4 great ones. Game 7 is next.
Greer's putting the ball on a play. He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it. Over the stand, Jones. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over.
Game 7. What happens on this stage lasts forever. Here, when the man meets the moment, the incredible becomes indelible.
This is what you have to live for. This is when you're a little kid, you know, when you're out on the basketball court, hitting a game-winning shot.
Complete with shocking shots and rewritten records, 6 games of Nets Pistons has given us more than most, including Detroit's character check of a Game 6 road win. Now, how can the Nets return the favor?
We have to bring up, the best 4 quarters of the season. We know it's going to be a hostile environment.
Tonight, it's 48 minutes between 24 men, 2 teams for 1 spot in history.
That's what basketball is all about, and this is what, the fun, this is what you dream about.
And now it's an all-out grind, it's a fight, it's who wants it more. Any one play or, any missed opportunity that come in the end of the season.
You know, you couldn't write a script better than
This is the 2,745th NBA playoff game. 88 of them have been Game 7. Indiana has survived. They get the winner of this Game 7. Minnesota won a Game 7 last night. They'll host the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals tomorrow night on TNT. But as you look at the McDonald's bracket, we are 1 away from determining the NBA Final Four. It's Game 7, Pistons and Nets. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Palace of Auburn Hills with Michelle Tafoya, Tom Tolbert, George Karl, Mike Tirico. The series has been over twice when the Pistons won the first 2 in dominant fashion, and then when the Nets won the next 3. Then the Pistons win Game 6 on the road, and here we are. Throw out all the stats. This man has coached 6 Game 7s. Tell me why the home court is so important in Game 7.
Well, the home court has such an energy of lifting. Right now, both teams know each other more than they want to know each other. In fact, they don't like each other right now. And the energy of the building to lift this team, to give them more lives than New Jersey. When the momentum comes back and forth one way or the other, Detroit will have 1 more live than New Jersey.
I'm going to look for the little things tonight. I mean, in Game 7, just by virtue of being Game 7, these teams are even. Look for free throws, who's going to make them, who's going to limit their turnovers, who's going to get extra possessions via steals and offensive rebounds. Whoever does a better job of those categories can have a great chance to win tonight.
Detroit won more games in the regular season, thus they are the home team for Game 7. They've earned this through 82 games of a hard schedule. And on the Bud Light starting lineups, the same 10 men who started this entire series. Jefferson, Martin, and Collins in the Nets front court. Tayshaun Prince, who has struggled, with Rasheed Wallace and Ben Wallace, the great shot blocker, in the middle. The backcourts, so important. If Detroit is to win, Chauncey Billups and Richard Hamilton must take them there against Jason Kidd, the best pure point guard in the league, and Kerry Kittles. There is nothing like the atmosphere for a Game 7. The sounds and sights are unique. We'll let the fans of the Palace and the intense faces of these 10 players take you to tip-off of Game 7. Danny Crawford, the crew chief, throws it up. The Nets in the road blue start with it. Jason Kidd, who told me this morning that 3 days of rest has helped that bone bruise in his knee. Rasheed Wallace is playing with a bad foot. Kenyon Martin goes right at him for the first basket of the game.
Well, that's a good job by Kenyon Martin, getting the ball and not settling for the jump shot. Go right at a guy, test him early.
Zone. You got some zone out there in the first possession of the game.
The little small wrinkles as they change within a Game 7. Ben Wallace has the size head. Billups first three. And the rebound by Kenyon Martin. Certainly will be a tempo game. When the Pistons miss, the Nets will look to run. And you'll see Detroit back early.
And I don't think the Nets can be afraid to take quick shots. If you have a good shot, even though it may be a quick one, go ahead and fire it up there. Don't try to beat the teeth of this defense.
Harry Kittle's had a hot couple of shooting games here. Missed his three, and Richard Hamilton gets the rebound. Hamilton coming off the excellent Game 6, where he led Detroit in points and forced the Game 7 with a road win in New Jersey on Sunday. The turnover, and here's transition with Kittles. 4 early points for the Nets has quieted the sellout crowd.
You had a zone 1 possession. You have Kittles covering. You have Kittles covering Hamilton on the other possession. Both of them a little bit of a change.
Rasheed Wallace to Ben Wallace.
That was much too easy an entry pass. I mean, if they're going to play a zone defense, that's where you have to beat it. Right in the middle of the key. You get the ball in there, and then you have all kinds of options.
George, we always want to talk about wrinkles and adjustments. That's out of bounds with Jason Kidd. Let's bring in Michelle Tafoya. Michelle?
Oh, Mike, Larry Brown told me earlier it's important that his team get off to the fast start tonight and that his players stay out of early foul trouble. He asked them to defend, play unselfishly, and play smart. As for Lawrence Frank, he told his team, you've done all the preparation, not this week only, but all of your lives for games like this. Believe in yourself, believe in each other, and believe in everything we do. Mike?
Rodney Rogers off the Nets bench, the only one who's played an NBA Game 7. Richard Hamilton the miss. A lot of these Nets did play a decisive Game 5 against Indiana, first round 2 years ago. What a game that was, and it became the foundation upon which the Nets have won back-to-back Eastern Conference championships. Tayshaun Prince, huge X factor. He has struggled outside of Game 1 against Richard Jefferson. The Pistons off to a slow shooting start, one of their first 4.
But Jefferson has stood him up. But you don't realize how big Jefferson is. He's explosive, 6'7".
And he used his left arm to clear out an offensive foul for the starting power or short scoring forward, would say Tom, for Lawrence Frank, age 33, the youngest head coach, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, or the NBA. At age 33 in 9 months, we see him. He looks so young. You might forget he's the father of 2. He has 2 girls at home, and his 3-day break got him some time to be home with his daughters. Just a couple hours, as he is a workaholic, as every coach is in the NBA. Ben Wallace, an outside shot.
I think it's really interesting. You got 2 great defensive basketball teams, and in the first quarter, you're searching for a little offense. Who's going to give you a wild card making some shots? And both teams need that to win this game.
Kidd and Martin both had some rest for their knee injuries. They are essential, and their health is essential to this team. Jefferson on the nice touch, hit that little mid-range shot.
Well, I want to see in big games who starts out hot and who starts out cold. Because if you start out cold, each shot or play becomes incrementally harder. And we'll see if guys who start out cold in the first quarter are able to pick up the nose and get back on their game in the last 3 quarters.
Rasheed Wallace banged for position, made a bad pass. Here come the Nets in transition. Right back to Kidd. Jefferson to Martin. Beautiful job by Kenyon Martin getting it right back to Jason Kidd. The decision maker picked the right one.
I think every basketball fan knows that running is New Jersey style. Here's a steal. Jason Kidd runs it up. Both make good touch passes, and they finish with the dunk, which energizes New Jersey. You've got to stop transition. Stop transition. Stop transition.
Sounds like somebody who coached against the Nets in the playoffs last year.
That's all I wrote on the blackboard.
Before Game 6, when the Nets eliminated your Milwaukee Bucks, Kenyon Martin knocks it out of bounds. Nope, still in bounds. Rasheed has 1 to shoot. Shot clock violation, so good defense from Kenyon Martin, the former #1 pick out of Cincinnati 4 years ago.
She didn't look all that enthused about going to get that ball, did he, with 4 seconds left on the shot clock?
I thought he thought it was
let me
going
go
out
get
of
it. Let me shoot it.
He was having a word there with Eddie F. Rush, who works the game along with Ron Garrettson and Dan Crawford. These 3 officials, 59 years in the league. Together, they've worked 25 NBA Finals games, over 350 playoff games. They've been through Game 7 a bunch of times, and they know what it takes to do the right thing. Jefferson, a 2. Richard Jefferson, who has been a breakthrough performer this season, averaged 18.5 in the regular season, and he's upped it to 20 a game in the playoffs.
Well, if you didn't know much about Richard Jefferson coming into this series, you're finding out why he's going to be on the Olympic team.
Great take by Chauncey Billups for his first field goal tonight.
I know everybody knows Richard Hamlin's had great series, but Chauncey Billups is a guy that had 37 in Game 7 last year against the Orlando Magic.
He made field goals, the difference in this game. It's 4 right now, and a turnover by the Nets. Jefferson told to make it come all the way back because Tayshaun was lurking. Pistons ball under the Nets basket.
Well, I was talking earlier about how big this guy is. I mean, he goes in, he took a hit from Ben Wallace last time. This time, outside of the 21 feet. I mean, he's really improved his range, his half court, and right now, a lot of times in the half court, instead of Jason Kidd, they count on him to create.
Martin's block fell right into the hands of Rasheed Wallace. The 4th overall pick of Washington. They were the Bullets back then in 1995.
I think one thing New Jersey wants, they want Jason Kidd to be fresher in the 4th quarter than he has been. And I think Jefferson's going to get more responsibility the first 3 quarters in that situation. He's going to get more offensive touches.
Hamilton chased down the rebound. Pistons look to tie as we come to the halfway mark of the first quarter. Corner Billups, that's 3. A reminder, Chauncey Billups scored 37 in Game 7, round 1 against Orlando on this floor last year. A 7-0 run, not stopped by a Kittle's 3, and Rasheed Wallace all over the board. Rasheed is 2 points, 2 boards, 2 assists. Billups can't go back-to-back on the 3s.
I'm not sure that's the type of shot you want. In this game, Detroit wants to run the shot clock down a little bit. Take the break if it's there, but not long jump shots.
Mason Collins fumbling against the great defender, Ben Wallace, and an over-the-back foul is called. For 3 seconds. Check it. It will be 3 seconds called on the Nets, and we have a timeout. Chauncey Billups has answered the special bell that is Game 7. He had the unbelievable shot in Game 5 in a losing cause, had only 12 in the return game in Game 6. But he plays better on his home floor. That's what the Pistons earned in the regular season. It's where they enjoyed a 1-point lead. Halfway through quarter 1, with Indiana waiting in the Eastern Conference Finals. 6th Game 7 in Detroit Pistons history. They lead 11-10 here in the first quarter. So much made of the backcourt matchup when New Jersey swept Detroit last year. Jason Kidd dominates Chauncey Billups. Kidd slowed by his knee injury. Billups healthy this year, has had a little bit of a stat story betterment this year, and had the defining moment of this series in a losing effort as George Blaha, the legendary Pistons voice, called in Game 5.
Tayshaun to Chauncey. Across the timeline, launches a 3. It is through! It is through! He got it! Chauncey with the biggest shot we have seen around here in years! And years and years! We're going to overtime! We're going to overtime!
They went to 3 overtimes. There's my buddy George, 28 years, the voice of the Pistons. He's described action around here for years, working with Bill Lambier, our colleague, tonight.
Nice shirt.
Get one of those.
Yeah, man.
George was the whooping in the background you heard was Rick Mahorn as well, who does color with George on the games that Bill's not around for when he's coaching the shop or in the studio with our guys. Pistons by 1. They lost that Game 5, but won Game 6 on the road on Sunday night in New Jersey after the Rasheed Wallace miss. Here comes Richard Jefferson, and the 10 who started the game remain in. It's another thing to watch for. Who comes in and who subs? Jason Kidd missed everything. He's had a horrible shooting series. 10 of 46 now shooting 3s in this series.
Well, if you didn't notice when we showed you that last graphic of Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups, 35% for Chauncey Billups, 31% for Jason Kidd. Neither of them being very efficient offensively.
But Chauncey has been better on this court than in New Jersey. He's actually shot the ball decent here.
Richard Hamilton gave up his dribble. Jefferson has the defensive assignment. You think Ben or Rasheed will go to the hoop, and he does. That's a 9-0 Piston run. They lead by 3.
surprised someone didn't come down and help on that one. Once you saw he was serious about getting to the hole, someone's got to come down there and help out Jefferson.
Rodney Rogers in the game. Sub-4 New Jersey takes Jason Collins, not as much of an offensive threat, off the floor. Two to shoot, Jefferson step back through. Hamilton tipped it last, it's Nets ball.
You can see the post up right here. Now you don't go get him, but right there, someone's got to get over there and get him. And no one. It was just, go ahead, Richard. Give it a shot.
If Rasheed can score in the low block, that'll be a huge advantage for Detroit.
No room, every pass, every shot, defended like it's the last. Kidd continues to struggle from the outside. He's never been a great outside shooter. Career, he's under 40%. No reason to expect him to turn it around at this late stage in his excellent NBA career. They go right back to that, coach. Rasheed, this time Kenyon Martin's there. Step across the lane. Then Wallace chases it down.
This is how Larry Brown wants to play. He likes possessions and then trying to score late in the shot clock rather than early in the shot clock. He feels if they score late in the shot clock, it's a huge advantage.
And one. Wallace. Foul on Kenyon Martin is first.
Two things. I like the fact that Rasheed Wallace is establishing himself down the low block. Second, he's being aggressive.
As you probably know, Wallace came over in the three-way trade after spending a day in Atlanta, at least one game as a Hawk. Never really got there, and in that one game they played the New Jersey Nets. Wore number 36 for that one game as a Hawk, and then moved to the three-way deal with Boston and the Pistons to come be the missing part they felt here in Detroit. The turnover on Kenyon Martin. There's the man who engineered the deal, Joe Dumars, former MVP of the finals, the president of basketball operations here in Detroit.
Oh, one game in Atlanta, that's enough for anybody, isn't it?
How many people do you think had that game?
How many people at the game?
Yeah.
They might have hit triple digits.
Wallace, a three. And the rebound by Kidd, trying to force the issue on a miss. Kenyon Martin is right at Rasheed Wallace.
That's nice. That was powerful.
That was impressive. And that time the Pistons were back, but a great job by Kidd and Martin to force the issue when their team needed some juice. First net points in about 5 minutes. The deficit 3. Boy, Gary Kittles. He'll be called for the personal foul. Third on the Nets, none on Detroit, and that's 2 on Kittles.
This is, I'm coming at you, stop me. And that is awesome. I mean, that's a big fella coming at you. Wow. And most guys, that ball would have been blocked.
That's good offense and good defense. Yeah. That's both good. I mean, that's what you want Wallace to do.
A timeout at 2.5 left. The Kerry Kittles' second personal foul, first significant foul story tonight.
This update brought to you by Taco Bell. Little hockey action for you. Game 6 between Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. The Flyers have been eliminated at home 5 of the last 6 years. Things did not look good early, but you know what, Greg Anthony? It's just like basketball. Synergy, passing, so key.
Great chemistry and patience by the Flyers, Sean.
You better believe it. Primo assisted on the first goal, scored the second. It's 2-1 Philly. Rasheed Wallace should be happy, Mike
He's
Tirico.
a baller.
Hey, and you know what? If things continue the way they're going, Game 7 will be Saturday night on ESPN2. Calgary is waiting Saturday at 7 if there is a Game 7. Mike?
Well, Kevin, both Rasheed Wallace and Richard Hamilton from the Philadelphia area, but there's somebody rooting for the Pistons who's rooting for the Lightning. Michelle has more on that.
Yeah, that's Pistons owner William Davidson. Well, that's not him. That's Rasheed. There he is. He's also the owner of the NHL's Tampa Bay Lightning, and you'll see that he has a monitor by his feet, so he can watch the hockey game at the same time he's here at the basketball game. I asked him how he chooses which game to attend, the Pistons or the Lightning. He said it's a day-to-day thing. And then he said, hey, this is Game 7. I've got my fingers crossed, and I brought my rabbi with me.
Mr. D, as he's known in these parts. Hamilton the miss. Ben Wallace the rebound. You know, Bill Davidson was the first pro sports owner to get his team a private plane. And almost all the teams, certainly NBA And NHL do that now. Tayshaun was fouled on the arm by Jefferson. And all the fouls called on New Jersey thus far. And on Jefferson, it's his second. So Jefferson and Kittles, two of their starters, 2 early fouls.
I'm a little disappointed. They've robbed Ben Wallace out of 2 bong hits. Got an offensive rebound and a defensive rebound and no bong.
Really?
Yeah. Because that's one of my favorite things in the NBA.
They bong him when he comes in for shoot
Every
around
time
before
Ben
the
Wallace
game.
does something, it's a bong here, a bong there, everywhere a bong, and they missed 2 of them.
Jefferson
already
comes to the bench as Lawrence Frank has to go to his bench and brings in Lucius Harris. What Tom is referring to is the Big Ben bong,
whatever.
Thank you, Tom. That plays for the guy they call Big Ben here in the Palace. But Jefferson with 2 is huge. Coach, you have to coach a game 7 a little bit differently. Is your time that you keep a guy on the bench with 2 fouls shorter in a game 7?
I think foul trouble is really a nightmare for a visiting coach, because now he's got to make serious decisions on how to coach the rest of the game. And Jefferson and Kittles being in foul trouble, I think, is very difficult. Now they're playing big with Rogers playing 3, or Kenyon Martin being 3, and I think now you'll see Detroit come back and put Williamson in the game.
Here's Rodney Rogers on the take, just threw one up wildly off the glass. And we get Ronnie Garrettson with a whistle. Now let's check the call here. It will be Nets ball after Ronnie issues a foul. Which team was the all-time champion? Jordan's Bulls, Birch Celtics, or Wilt Sixers against Magic's Lakers? Cast your votes in the semifinals matchup at NBA.com. Corliss Williamson, as you anticipated, George, comes into the lineup. No foul call there, just out of bounds off Detroit. Kenyon Martin the miss, and Rasheed Wallace gets another rebound. So the Nets, one of their last 9, has allowed Hamilton and both Wallaces to pull down 3 rebounds apiece in the first 10 and a half.
And the only field goal they had was that open court dunk by Kenyon Martin.
Hamilton so good with that mid-range jumper off the mark, but Detroit will keep it.
One thing New Jersey is doing well, they're running and chasing Hamilton well. Hamilton has not gotten into the game yet. He's missed a lot of shots, and I think they believe he is the guy that can make big shots for the Pistons.
Lawrence Frank brings Kittles with 2 fouls back in, gets Jason Kidd to the bench. What you talked about, George, trying to have a fresher Jason Kidd for late 3rd and through the 4th.
Well, I think the over and under, the guys playing 40 minutes a night are probably going to be 5 or 6. I think Detroit will have 3 guys, unless the lead gets up. And then they'll allow either coach to rest a little bit more. But I think in the first half, you'll see some guys get some rest. But as this game gets towards the 4th quarter, there's not going to be a lot of rest for the studs.
Chauncey Billups to the bench. Mike James, who was the starting point guard in Boston, part of the 3-way deal with Rasheed Wallace, comes into the lineup. And Ben Wallace, there's Big Ben's gong banging. He's hit a couple of field goals from outside the paint. And when he does that, it makes this team much tougher.
Go figure. Rip Hamilton, 0 for 3. Ben Wallace, 3 for 3. But you know what? You can see in his eyes how much more confident he is this year in taking that shot.
Kittles a 2. Nets in need of offense. Get it from the man with the longest tenure as a New Jersey Net. 7th year out of Villanova. Final minute, under 20 in the quarter. What else is new in this series? Lucius Harris picks up the foul.
Well, Ben was out early. Ben Wallace is out early, warming up and shooting a lot of jump shots, and he's made 3. And you have to remember, game 2, they were down 10 points at halftime, and Ben Wallace made 2 or 3 jump shots early in the 3rd quarter in game 2 that got the momentum back to where they won that game. He's gotten more confident in making shots. Of course, we know his forte is defending and rebounding.
One more at the line for Richard Hamilton, who, when he played in his first game 7 last year against Orlando, scored 22 points on 9 of 14 shooting.
And you know what? That Ben Wallace jump shot, that was for him. That was a play for him. He saw James come down instead of Pig, and he popped out.
That's what I like about Larry Brown. He'll do that. He'll reward a guy doing a lot of dirty work and say, hey, I know you're not a great shooter, but we're going to give you this one.
Kidd on the bench. Kittles brought it up. Lucius Harris didn't do it, and here comes Ben Wallace on the break. Rasheed Wallace flying left. Hamilton all the way. A 17-4 Piston run. The double on Kittles. No kid in the lineup. More ball pressure.
New Jersey does not work very well when Kid's not in there.
It's knocked away. Last touch by Rasheed Wallace. 10 on the shot clock. 20.8 for the quarter. And a little defensive pressure here in the last minute of the quarter as Lindsey Hunter comes in off the bench. Well, one thing we know about New Jersey, they are not a very good half-court team. Haven't been, still aren't. And you see the difference tonight.
Stop transition. Stop transition.
Are you still writing that on the board?
We didn't stop transition in that game.
But made shots can help you do that. And the Pistons have picked it up after a 104 start. They're now shooting 45% from the field.
Coach almost says it in trance-like state. Stop transition.
Well, you know, when you play a team so many times, it's just they get tired of hearing what you say, but you got to say it anyway.
Pistons have a foul to give. It's a Rogers three. Clanging away. Last shot with Hunter and James as the guards for Detroit. Lindsey Hunter, a former Piston draft pick, missed the two at the horn. For the 14th time in 25 quarters in regulation in this series, the New Jersey Nets were held under 20. They score 14. A big run by the Pistons after the first few minutes have fired up the home fans. It's game 7, where the home team all-time is 72-15, and a 17-4 run at the end of the first as Detroit +7 after 12 minutes.
You're watching the day after tomorrow's presentation of ESPN's Play Like There's No Tomorrow.
The New Jersey Nets have never played an NBA Game 7. Jason Kidd has not either. In 11 minutes, no points, 4 assists, 2 steals, missed badly on a couple of field goals, and it's been part of the Jason Kidd story this year. In the playoffs, he was excellent. He controlled the Eastern Conference Finals that the Nets swept the Pistons last year. Far, far different. You guys highlighted the field goal percentage. How much of it do you think is attributable to Jason Kidd's bone bruise? He's clearly not 100%, even though he looked pretty good in the Knicks series, the opening round sweep.
Well, as the playoffs go on, you wear down. And he's got injuries. He's not going to complain about them, but I think his back's bothering him as much as his knees bother him. He's with the chiropractor. He's with the Chinese doctor. He's everywhere.
Well, there's Williamson on the low block to start this second quarter. Blocked by Rodney Rogers. And good defense as Rogers sticks with it for the rebound. Evan is coming for Detroit. He takes a 3 right away and misses another one. So he's 0 for 3 from the field, 0 of 2 behind the line.
And so far, the New Jersey Nets have got not one offensive rebound, so no extra opportunities for them.
Rip Hamilton joins Mike James in the backcourt. Trying to find Williamson inside. It was knocked away. Corliss is joined by Ben Wallace and Mehmet Okur, second-year man from Turkey in the Detroit lineup. Okur set the screen for Hamilton. Rip cannot get his shot going. And the rebound by Lucius Harris is with Jason Kidd, Kenyon Martin, Jason Collins, and Rodney Rogers for the Atlantic Division champion Nets. Poor defensively. Martin's got the athleticism here. Takes it right to him and draws some free throws. As the first foul of the night on the Pistons. Well, a reminder that the NBA playoffs continue with the Western Conference Finals. TNT has all of those games. Tomorrow night, game 1. Lakers at Minnesota, and it will start at 9 Eastern time. A quick reminder, by the way, we'll have an NBA Hangtime show from Times Square at 7 Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN. We'll have that for the first few games of the Western Conference Finals.
You got 14 minutes. New Jersey doesn't get Detroit to commit a foul. This is the first foul that New Jersey commits. And you got to understand, in so many of these games, it's not the stats, it's not the baskets, it's the team that's aggressive. And right now, New Jersey's kind of got a blasé mentality to them. In game 2, they put their mentality to drive the ball to the basket, to penetrate more. They haven't done that much so far in this game.
Martin knocks down both. Richard Jefferson, one of the key energy guys on the bench with 2 personal fouls. Both he and Kerry Kittles, starters who picked up the 2 early fouls. That's something Lawrence Frank has to deal with that Larry Brown does not have to deal with right now. I'm sure the net bench pointed out, too, that, hey, did you see the score sheet? No fouls on the guys in white. Williamson inside on the feed from Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace, an offensive star.
Maker, playmaker.
We said Ben Wallace in stereo there from you guys. Ben averaging 2.5 assists per playoff game, up from 1 3/4 in the regular season. When your stats go up in the playoffs, that means you're really good. Yeah. Every possession is so much more difficult. Rodgers a 3. The only man with Game 7 experience for the Nets missed it. Tayshaun Collins inside, got it to go.
Well, it was a nice job using that big body and backing Ben Wallace off. Because I think Wallace was going to go up and try to block that shot. Collins put his butt into him, moved him out of the way, and then made the shot easier for him.
Just Collins' 3rd field goal in the last 5 games. A former Stanford star who was just as surprised as everyone with the word that Mike Montgomery might be coming to the NBA. Hamilton, a 3. And Lawrence Frank says enough. Timeout, New Jersey.
That time Rodney Rogers switched on to Hamilton and kicked the ball, and then Rogers falls asleep and just sucks in, and Hamilton gets a wide open look. And if he gets started, guess what? New Jersey's in trouble.
Richard Hamilton has 7. Ben and Rasheed Wallace each have 6. The Pistons lead by 8.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by Sprite Remix Berry Clear, Rethink, Remix, Refresh, and Van Helsing. Now adventure lives forever.
They've been on their feet and rocking the Palace of Auburn Hills after the Pistons' success. There is the most popular athlete in Detroit, Steve Eiserman of the Red Wings, and one of the most popular of all time, the Hitman, former boxing champion Thomas Hearns. Among those on, hey, look, the 2 friends from the Upper Peninsula. Tom Izzo, Michigan State basketball coach. Steve Mariucci, coach of the Detroit Lions. Those guys grew up in Iron Mountain, Michigan, a really super small town. And now both are not only successful coaches, but they are coaching back in their home state. Izzo, the success north of here in Michigan State and East Lansing. And Mariucci heading to his 2nd season as the coach of the Detroit Lions. Pistons by 8. What must the Nets do to get going, men?
Put Jason Kidd back in the game, I think, is a start. And I think they got to get more penetration to the basket.
4 to shoot, Martin.
Like that? No, not like that. Too many jump shots, too many long jump shots, too many guys, too many wrong guys taking the jump shot.
Well, Richard Jefferson's about to check back into the game, too. I think that's a good move by Lawrence Frank. You can't let this thing get away from you, especially on the road.
Hamilton on the run, trying to dish to Ben Wallace. It was deflected out of bounds, but a foul first, called by Danny Crawford on the outside and on the net. Rodney Rogers will pick it up.
And he does a great job. Never stops, uses picks, uses screens, and right there. Not really sure.
I think he's the best player in basketball right now using screens. He moves off of screens. They set hundreds of them per game. And that's why Jason Kidd usually covers him, because Kidd is better than Kittle on covering screens.
Very aggressive with his shots tonight. He missed. Not great floor balance, but the Pistons are able to get back.
Well, it's funny. Rip Hamilton, the king of the mid-range, has made a layup and a 3 and missed every shot in mid-range.
Rodney Rogers put it on the floor, but he saw Williamson and explodes to the goal. And Larry Brown saying, Memento Court, what are you thinking about? You got to be there to protect the rim.
But what happened on that play is you saw Jason Collins hold Ben Wallace from coming to Rodney Rogers. And yesterday, Larry Brown's coaching staff was complaining about the holding of Collins when Wallace is in the help position.
It's a mismatch defensively for Jefferson. Hamilton, there you go, Tom, furthering your point. Can't do it from 10 to 20, but he's banged 2 threes. The Pistons lead by 9, their largest of the night. And give Corliss Williamson a 3rd assist as well. Somebody has to want to shoot, and Jefferson answers the call, as he's done since the All-Star game on. Richard Jefferson, who is going to play for Larry Brown in the Olympics in Athens this summer, taking his game up to the next level to be a member of Team USA.
There's a big three-pointer right there, but Coach is right. If they don't start being more aggressive and rely too much on those outside shots, it's not going to end well.
Williamson camping out in the paint. Ringed it out. Jason Collins triggers the break. Jefferson cruising on the wings. Ben Wallace on the flyby, kept it away, and Mehmet Okur went up to get the rebound.
They're getting good minutes both from Okur and Williamson in this quarter.
These are important minutes for Okur because if he doesn't show the toughness, the tenacity, the rebounding, the defense, he's going to be sitting same place we are the rest of the game. Watching from courtside, Billups spots the line and missed the three. And a foul called on the Pistons. It'll be on Corliss Williamson. Well, the Eastern Conference Finals exclusively on ESPN will start Saturday night. As you see, every other night we'll go west and east, west and east. It's available on ESPN HD as well. Games 1 and 2 will be at Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, starting at 8 Eastern. Brad Nessman, Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya will be there for that. Of course, the shoot-around gang will be on hand before action, and Jim Gray will join their crew in Indianapolis. Who's going to make the 4.5-hour drive? The Nets or the Pistons? Kidd put it up on the glass. That was a shot attempt, not a pass attempt, and Collins caught it on the baseline.
Every other night, that's a cool concept. And there's Jimmy Goldstein's here, who loves to watch basketball games, the fan from L.A. He'll be going Minneapolis, Indianapolis, Minneapolis, Indianapolis, Minneapolis, Indianapolis.
Jimmy's one of the great all-time characters who's been around the NBA over the years. Just a fan who loves the game. He was in Minneapolis last night. Here tonight. Detroit by 6 as we approach the halfway mark of quarter 2. Rasheed Wallace licks his fingers, ready to go at Jason Collins. Okur, hustle play, got the rebound. Tayshaun Prince setting up camp on Kerry Kittles. Came across. Rasheed Wallace, the putback. That's 3 shots at it. You're going to make one in all likelihood.
7th games are so equal in talent. It's the extra possessions, the easy baskets that determine the outcome. And right now, the Pistons are winning big in that area.
Jefferson gallops down the lane, and his aggressiveness has gotten to the hole a couple of times and drawn a couple of fouls on Detroit. We have a timeout. Rasheed Wallace the foul.
Rasheed Wallace this year has not been known for his offensive rebounds, but here he gets aggressive, and he's so long and so strong. He should be an offensive rebounder. Here's the bounce out. He's right there. Easy. Dunk. 2.
8 points for the 29-year-old former North Carolina star. Detroit's 4 offensive rebound conversions. Part of the reason they're up 8 in Game 7. The Detroit Pistons lead by 8. They have 8 assists, all of them coming from front court players. 8 assists on 13 baskets and sharing the ball. Part of tonight's Sprite.
Mad skills. This is the Wallace is going off. See right there, getting to the hoop. Another shot at the rim. Ben says, let's try from the, oh, it's so nice out here. And then Rasheed Wallace is using his length in the and one at the free throw line and on the break. This is what they do defensively. Long, strong, getting the win. Yeah! Good box out right there. And that's your Sprite, mad, skill,
I think you should get an endorsement from Sprite.
Rasheed Wallace, who has played 2 Game 7s, guys, in 2000, the Western Finals. Of course, he had a huge game with 30 points. You'll remember that was the game that sent Portland South and LA North. Portland blew the big lead in the 4th quarter. And then last year, as a member of the Blazers, taking on Dallas in a Game 7 in Texas. Rasheed had 17 points in that one. Richard Jefferson shot on the first, and here's Michelle Tafoya again.
Hey, when Richard Jefferson was 14, Mike, he said into a tape recorder, my name is Richard Jefferson, and by the time I reach my sophomore year, I will be All-State. And he was. He said, by the time I reach my senior year, I will be All-American. And he was. He played that tape back to himself day after day. He achieved both goals. He might have taped himself earlier today saying, I will make the front end of my free throws, but he didn't there, Mike.
Yeah, Michelle, he used to listen to that tape at night before he went to bed, just to have that thought. I think that's the last thought he had each day and the first one the next day. And boy, has he made himself into quite a player. Gets the rebound there. His team, the Nets, down 7, searching for half-court offense. As usual, they have struggled in that category tonight. Hit from the post. Dishing to Kittle. Nice-looking play. Everything but. And Mehmet Okur gets another rebound. That is 4 off the bench for the 6'11 Okur, who the Pistons might not be able to keep next year if they sign Rasheed Wallace, who's a free agent after this one. Back in the half court with 8 to shoot. And their point guard, Chauncey Billups, running the show. Okur showing some of those skills.
Oh, the runner. He dropped the runner on him.
Mehmet Okur has halves, has stretches where he is a complete player. He defends, he rebounds. Larry Brown criticized heavily for not putting him in triple overtime game 5, but Okur didn't give him anything early on in that game. I think it's part of the reason Larry didn't go back there. Good defense by Rasheed Wallace, and a foul on Tayshaun College. Tom, use that left arm to clear space.
You can put the left arm out. You just can't extend the left arm. And when you extend the left arm, that gives you a clear advantage, and that's why you get a foul called against you. Now watch him go up right here. He's going to pick and roll, and now going into the bucket. Watch the left arm extend. You just can't do that. But you can't help yourself sometimes because you know you're going to get your shot stuff back in your mug.
Hamilton, up 2. First double-digit lead of the night. The home team up 11.
This is danger area right here for New Jersey. And if you're Lawrence Frank, you miss here and they make. Can't be afraid to call timeouts.
Kittle's diving, lost it. On the run, it's Prince. Jefferson trying to stop him. Kick in the corner. Chauncey for 3. And the rebound by Martin. Hit on a push. Transition chance for Kittles. What a play! He lost the handle, spinning around. He put it back in.
All the things that the home court brings to a team. Energy, confidence, intimidation, intensity. All are on right now coming to Detroit. Right now, the body language, the karma of New Jersey, they're searching. They're searching for a way to figure it out, where to go, how to get successful.
Delay of game warning. The Nets knocked it away after it went through the basket. That's the first. Next one's a technical, and Hamilton is heating up. Back to an 11-point lead. Richards hit 4 of his last 5 shots. Jefferson, that's 2. That's air. That's trouble. Ben Wallace down low.
D.O. Gotta get a D.O.
Detroit is cooking.
When Ben Wallace is 4 of 4, this team is tough to beat. Richard Hamilton went to a high school all-star camp. He saw all the dunkers and high risers. He said, I've got to develop a mid-range game if I'm going to make it in the league. Ben Wallace is all work. On the tough streets he grew up. 11th of 12 children. Hard work, work ethic, dedication has got him to the NBA. Made him an all-star. May help get his team to the Eastern Finals again.
Welcome back to the 2004 NBA playoffs on ESPN.
Coming up in a moment on the Toyota Halftime Show, we'll have a Western Conference preview as we get ready for the Timberwolves and Lakers. We'll also check in on the hockey. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay in Game 6, 3-2. Philly leads that. But meanwhile, is this game over? Are the Nets in trouble right now, Greg?
Of course they're in trouble. I mean, you know what? In theory, it's always easy to stop teams. But in practice, sometimes it can be difficult. For Detroit, good offense leads to them getting back in transition defense. No offensive opportunities for the New Jersey Nets. They are in trouble.
Nets have 8 turnovers in this game. Let's go back to Mike Tirico.
And Kevin, those 8 turnovers have led to 10 points. And points are a problem for the Nets right now. Jason Kidd has not scored. Tom, Jason Kidd doesn't have to score to control a game. He's not scoring, but he's not controlling the game.
No, not at all. And it's a situation where you don't have to score a lot, but you have to be somewhat dangerous. And by that I mean they have to guard you. You got to be able to make an outside shot on occasion. You have to be able to get to the rim on occasion. And he's most dangerous in the open court. And right now, there's just not that many open court opportunities for Jason Kidd to control.
And look at that, 6 of 22 away from the ball. This is a Rasheed Wallace foul. That is his second personal. 4th on the Pistons, only 1 on the Nets. You see Tayshaun Prince is kind of yanking Rasheed and getting him back to think defense here as he was chatting with Danny Crawford. Larry Brown's going to get Memino 4 in, so Rasheed doesn't pick up a 3rd before halftime. We'll see if he can do it in time.
This possession has Detroit in his zone.
And a block from Rasheed Wallace. Transition Hamilton. And Chauncey Billups will put the governor on it and settle it down. Detroit trying to extend the largest lead of the night. They're up 13. And it's Hamilton for 2. Get on the push with Kittle. Good tip by Jefferson. Also a good job of Rasheed Wallace contesting the shot, but not picking up the 3rd foul.
Well, it's a great job by Jefferson following the play. You never assume, whether it's a layup or not, the shot's going to be made.
Run something for Hamilton. Off the Wallace screen. It was covered well by Jason Kidd. Tayshaun Prince with Jefferson legally leaning on him. Big block. You know Prince is a lefty. Doesn't go right often. Played it well. Transition 2 for Kittles. There you go. A couple of bang-bangs in transition. And Larry Brown will get a 22nd after the Pistons take it across midcourt.
I can't remember the last time New Jersey scored in the half court, but they do score in the open court.
12 break points for New Jersey. Of their 30 tonight, 92 seconds before halftime.
I have told a ridiculous lie to back up a friend's ridiculous lie.
I've just ordered a Coors Light for everyone in this bar. Put it on my buddy's tab.
I have used my dog to dry my hands.
I have no idea what this girl's name is.
I have dated a girl for her brains. Big, huge brains.
Great achievements deserve a great beer. Unleash the Rocky Mountain cold taste of Coors Light.
Well, this Saturday on ABC, the 2004 WNBA season tips off. #1 pick Diana Taurasi returns to Connecticut as the Phoenix Mercury take on Lindsay Whaley, the great star from Minnesota, and the Sun. Lindsay Whaley will go up against Diana Taurasi, and they're all trying to get what that guy has, Bill Laimbeer. He and the Detroit Shock won the WNBA championship. Of course, Bill, a member of the Bad Boys champions in '89 and '90. His 40 hangs from the rafters here at the Palace. Out of the timeout, Billups right to the cup. When they switched defensively in Game 3 and put Kerry Kittles on Billups, it's frustrated Chauncey. Larry Brown wants to run half court, but Chauncey feels he can take Kittles at any time, and he showed it right there.
He's done it twice and they're too strong.
Nets have gotten back in it a bit. Rodney Rogers gave it up. Okur, who came into the game for Wallace with 2 fouls, has been a good presence defensively. Final minute, first half.
Key for New Jersey right here. You got to stay within touch. Did a nice job getting back into it, cutting a 13-point lead to 9. You don't want to let it get back up to 13 or 15 heading into halftime.
Corliss Williamson is going to come in and get Tayshaun Prince at the end of the half. Aaron Williams checked in for the Nets a couple of possessions ago to join Rogers and Martin up front. Tough shot for Hamilton and Martin on the glass. The Nets have a chance to get it into single digits before halftime. Always important mentally and crucial in the history of Game 7. Offensive foul, Aaron Williams, and that's just one that you're thinking, hey, I got Aaron Williams and Richard Hamilton guarding. I'm going to get one here. Instead, it's a foul on the Nets.
Well, it wasn't very subtle. I mean, he just tried to steamroll. And what you want to do if you're a big guy and a little guy's guarding is try to use the angles a little bit and your strength. But if you go with pure strength, that's generally what happens.
Billups has Kidd guarding him, dancing, and draws the foul. We always talk about Game 7s and how they have a unique set of statistics because of the pressure and the quality of the teams in their matchups. Because if you get to Game 7, teams are pretty good against each other. Well, in the history of Game 7, the largest halftime deficit erased is 11 points back in 1975. It's done by Golden State against Chicago.
New Jersey might have to make history. Or hit a three.
Chauncey Billups comes in. We told you about that game he had against Orlando. His first Game 7, he said, I wanted the ball right from the start of the game. And I felt the confidence. I did not feel the fear and the pressure that builds up in a Game 7. He thought in part because they had an elimination Game 5 and 6 to get to that Game 7. Nets take their 20-second timeout to set up strategy here with 22.3 to go. You know what? The Nets didn't have a 20. So that becomes a full timeout, and that is a huge mistake by the Nets. We'll be right back.
Oh.
There you see the pertinent stats thus far. Detroit, the offensive rebounds and second chances. They've eliminated easy baskets for the Nets, thus have built a lead of 43-30. But, guys, I think a huge mistake there by the Nets, and it's got to be on the head coach, Lawrence Frank. They wanted to take a 20 in that situation, but they took it earlier in this half, so they lose the time. They now have just 3 full-out timeouts. 2 of them they'll have to use in each quarter.
So the whole coaching staff, I mean, he should have an assistant coach and his trainer yelling at him, and he's used his 20.
Regular season, you always had one guy do it, but you have 2 guys do it in the playoffs.
You have 2 guys do it.
2-second difference, game and shot clock. Nothing going on as Jefferson clears out with Lindsey Hunter. Picked by Martin. Richard spins through the lane and got fouled on the pass. However, the Nets will get free throws as it was the 15th foul on the Pistons.
He is so good at that spin move. I mean, where he can go either left or right and spins with a little bit of power. It's not a weak spin where he gets knocked off balance. And he's able to gather himself and go straight up. And right there, a drop foul, get to the free throw line and miss.
I just want to clear up the point I was making during that play. You have to take a timeout each quarter. I know people see a timeout, the home team, then the road team, then the home team. You have to take 1 per quarter. That only leaves Lawrence Frank the 20 and 1 extra timeout to take to try to stem a run in the second half.
And having your timeouts on the road in a playoff game, you want to use them to start momentum. And I believe you should use them all if you have to. But to throw one away is a very bad at that position. You didn't need to call a timeout there.
You see the clock. Hamilton shot early, missed it, and we get to halftime. So the lead is 12, reminding you that no team has erased a dozen-point deficit at halftime of Game 7 to come back and win. Jason Kidd and the Nets held in check with just 31 first-half points. Here's Michelle with Richard Hamilton.
Rip, the plan coming in was to slow down their running game. How did you guys do it?
We try to eliminate shots to 1 shot. You know, we limit them to 1 shot, and we stay with Jason Kidd at all times. We're in good shape.
Yeah, you are in good shape, and they threw a lot of different defenders at you. They thought they might be able to slow you a bit that way. Why are you still able to get so many open looks?
Just attacking. You know, I think my teammates are doing a great job of setting screens, and as long as I keep moving, if I keep moving, everybody hates to guard that, and Chauncey's doing an excellent job of finding me.
Are you tired yet? Because you said if you get tired, you know your opponent's exhausted. Are they exhausted yet?
I think they're getting there.
Thanks. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Michelle. Detroit handled the ball as well, very well. Only 3 turnovers in the half, limiting those run opportunities for the Nets. Toyota Halftime Show with Kevin Frazier and Greg Anthony in the Times Square studio coming up. The home team has won 5 out of every 6 Game 7s in NBA history. It's the 6th Game 7 in Detroit Pistons franchise history. They're up 12, 24 minutes from a date with Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Welcome to the Toyota Halftime Show.
Rasheed Wallace dealing with foot issues, but it's Game 7. You got to play. 8 points and 4 rebounds for Rasheed, and Detroit on top right now.
Detroit is controlling tempo and not turning the ball over, the biggest keys.
And they are taking care of business, and so are the folks in New York City. The bracket board, our McDonald's NBA bracket board. 1 more spot to fill. We'll find out who's headed to the Eastern Conference Finals and a date with the Indiana Pacers tonight. Greg Anthony, Kevin Frazier, and Greg, so far in this first half, as we look at the numbers, it's been all about the Detroit Pistons.
Well, the big key, the two areas you want to look at, turnovers, New Jersey not able to force them, and field goal percentage. Both teams not shooting well, but a little bit better on the Pistons side. Again, that limits those opportunities for New Jersey. They got to take the ball out of the net and go against that vaunted Detroit Pistons defense. And right now, New Jersey's struggling for offense. Obviously, Jason Kidd is laboring a little bit with the knee injury. He is not as explosive as they need him to be, has not been the factor that they need him to be if they want to win this game.
If you're Lawrence Frank, and you guys have about the same amount of coaching experience, what would you tell your team right now in the locker room?
I would call 911 and try to get some help, because right now it's going to be tough for them because, again, they have so many weapons, Detroit, and right now they're starting to feel a little more confident about how they're playing the basketball game. New Jersey's got to continue to find a way to create turnovers. That's going to be the big key in this game if they can't get defensive stops.
All right, well, they need to get some stops, unless it'll be Detroit who is taking on the Indiana Pacers as the Eastern Conference Finals get underway Saturday at 8 Eastern. Of course, the party begins, as always, with Kia NBA shoot-around at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So we are waiting to get the Eastern Conference the Eastern Conference Finals underway. Meanwhile, the Western Conference Finals are set. They get underway on Friday, and for a preview of that, let's head out west to Shelley Smith.
The Lakers warmed up for this season's MVP by facing last season's MVP in the conference semis. But the Lakers also say that Kevin Garnett presents a far different challenge.
He plays a lot of parts of the game. He has a big influence on the game because of his length, his defensive ability, his activity, his offensive skill of shooting the ball, top of the floor particularly.
They're pretty much the same players, just Garnett's a little bit more athletic, jumps a little higher. But, you know, we have to, you know, just try to, you know, make it tough on them. But, you know, they got a lot of weapons on that team.
We just had a valiant effort defensively against Tim Duncan, you know, one of the best offensive players in the league in the post, and wore him down. You know, I joked that Karl Malone is in the logging business. You know, he spends his summers chopping down trees, and Kevin Garnett's a pretty tall tree.
In Garnett, the Lakers see an emerging superstar who is making a statement in the playoffs, much as Kobe and Shaq did 4 years ago on their way to their first title.
Not only did he break the first round curse, to say, but also now has proven that the first round was not suffice enough. He's moved on and carried his team through a grueling 7-game series into now the Western Conference Finals.
Well, he can have a big series against anybody. You know, it doesn't really matter who he plays against. I think he had a big series last series. He's going to have a big series this series.
I'm not going to give him any accolades more than he's already had this year. He's got plenty of accolades. Now we have to take him apart.
For the third consecutive series, Kobe Bryant's pretrial hearing will fall on a game day. Tip-off for Game 4 is at 6:15 in Los Angeles, which is about an hour earlier than before. The Lakers say that whether Bryant makes it back in time for any or all of Game 4 is completely dependent on the court schedule. With the Lakers, I'm Shelley Smith, ESPN.
Shelley, thanks a lot. We take a look at the head-to-head matchup during the regular season. Greg, Rick Fox has to cut his hair, man.
He's got to work on it. Well, you know what, though? He's having a bad hair day. But these numbers, Kevin, don't mean anything. None of those numbers mean anything right now. It's all about how will Minnesota defend Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
They're not going to stop Kevin Garnett.
The big focus is stopping the big man.
That's a massive force, and you got to try to slow it down as best way you can.
A strong basketball player, you do have to sort of match his strength. It's inevitable that players will pick up fouls. So the more bodies we can throw at Shaq, the better we'll be.
He's going to chew defenders up and spit them out. We have a lot of players on this team, and every single one of us is going to have to be prepared mentally for the physicality of Shaq, for how intense he is.
Any great player, you can't let them get to their sweet spots. Every player wants to get the ball at certain areas. They want to do certain things. You've got to get them away from those areas.
You know, Mark Madsen practiced against Shaquille O'Neal every day, so he knows. Can the Timberwolves stop Shaq? Can they win this series?
No, the problem is that sweet spot that Flip Saunders is talking about is the entire paint, and that's how Shaquille O'Neal's going to play. He's going to dominate that area. The problem for Minnesota more so is on the offensive end where they can't occupy Shaquille O'Neal, and he's going to basically be able to coast and just be a deterrent and save all that energy for the offensive end.
All right, so the Timberwolves need to figure out a way to stop Shaquille O'Neal. The Nets need to figure out a way to stop all the Detroit Pistons because their time is ticking on their season. Rip Hamilton, the jumper here. Big lead for Detroit. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
This halftime show is presented by the all-new Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. Welcome back to the Toyota Halftime Show.
The New Jersey Nets trying to find a way to get back in this ball game. They trail by 12 points at the half. Game 7, somebody is headed to Indiana to take on the Pacers. Meanwhile, a little NBA news. Eric Musselman was fired Wednesday night as the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. He will be replaced by a surprise candidate. His replacement, Stanford coach Mike Montgomery, will remain in the Bay Area, reportedly for a 4-year contract worth more than $10 million. All right, little hockey action for you. Game 6 between the Lightning and Flyers. Do or die for the Flyers, and might be die time. Ruslan Fedotenko scored twice in this to give him a 4-3 lead.
I tell you what, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I do recognize talent. That boy is good. I don't care if it's cricket, lacrosse, hockey, it doesn't matter.
That's Fedotenko right there, 4-3. Tampa Bay up. He has 5 goals in the last 5 games. And he appreciates that analysis. Second half of the game coming up in a moment.
This halftime show is presented by the all-new Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Not just big, life-sized. Welcome back to the 2004 NBA playoffs on ESPN.
Back at the Palace of Auburn Hills, 30 miles north of downtown Detroit. Game 7, Eastern Conference semifinals. Pistons leading by 12. Here are the Nikes' first half stats. And George Carl, what jumps out at you out there?
Well, the big thing for me is the differential between turnovers and, of course, offensive rebounds, even though we don't have offensive rebounds up there. Extra possessions. Detroit has 10 extra possessions. They've shot the ball 9 more times. That's a difficult stat to overcome on the road.
And Tom, when you look at the box score, Jason Kidd, 0 points.
Well, 0 for 4 from the field. He hasn't gotten many attempts. And the ones that he has got up haven't even been close. I mean, these things have been off and off by a mile. What are you going to say? I mean, he's not a guy that's going to come out and give you 20 points in a quarter. He's got to find a way to maybe get himself to the rim, get himself to the free throw line. But if you expect him to come out here and just light it up from the perimeter, that's not his game, and it's not going to happen.
In general, Detroit had total control of that half, both at the offensive end of the court, defensive end of the court, decision-making, offensive rebounding, every area of the basketball court, Detroit had an edge.
And who will be the energy guy to get New Jersey to climb back in it? Usually that's Martin and Jefferson. Tayshaun Prince, scoreless in the first half, continues his struggles, and over the back foul on Kenyon Martin. He picks up his second, and here's Michelle Tafour.
I spoke with Lawrence Frank coming out of the locker room, Mike. He said we are struggling offensively, taking too many perimeter jumpers. We just played a poor half. We're lucky we're only down a dozen. He said we've got to continue to attack, trust what we do. We made game plan mistakes on defense. We're going to have to get more deceptive on defense. But his mantra has been trust what we do, Mike.
We'll see if they're able to do that in the second half. Chauncey Billups at 3. And Detroit extends the lead to 15, as big as it has been all night. Let's correct the last foul. It was on Jason Collins, who was right there with Kenyon Martin. They give it to Collins, his second. Martin still has 1.
And Tayshaun Prince has been struggling offensively, but that makes you feel good about yourself right there. You drew the double team, you found an open teammate, and you got him a good look, and he made the 3.
And also, Coach Brown ran the first play for him.
Jason Kidd, he's not even close, guys. 0 for 5. The energy of Martin chases it down, but Jason will not stop shooting necessarily. When he has to take it, he will. He needs to take over the game, feed it. Tough to hear the whistle as the place was loud, but it was a foul on Richard Hamilton.
I mean, it's difficult for me to say right now, but New Jersey's got to go to Jefferson and let Kidd find his offense off the ball. Because right now, Jason, whatever, injured, hurt, lack of confidence, Detroit's great defense has Jason Kidd under control.
Wouldn't you guess it's a combination of all those?
Yes, it is. It's definitely a combination of all.
Hamilton shut off the top with Billups. A soft zone there from the Pistons. Helps get the turnover. The find of Wallace to Chauncey Billups. This is 3.
Timeout, it goes.
And rebound by Jason Kidd. Here's the push. Jefferson to Kittles. couldn't make it. The Pistons ran back and contested. 3-on-2 for Detroit. Billups missed the last. Missed that. And Collins the rebound. And you have to be careful. This is a Nets-type stretch here. But Detroit gets back and forces New Jersey into the half court again. Rasheed Wallace turns away Jefferson. Richard gallops towards the rim. And the rebound for Rasheed Wallace. Frank numbers for the Danny Crawford call on the foul. Didn't get it. And a pass behind Billups. Or Prince, I should say. Kenyon Martin goes right to the goal.
Missing a lot of opportunities here. A lot of shots at point-blank range. And when you're down, you're on the road. You got to find a way to make those.
Billups with the ball fake, draws the foul, and took a tough part of that collision. Collins fouls his third. You can get an all-access look at the NBA playoffs. Tune in to NBA TV's Destination Finals nightly on NBA TV.
One of my fifth game, I was playing the fifth game against Utah, and I had an old coach by the name of Jack McMahon. And I thought we were going to go into Utah and play the game slow and sloppy and ugly and try to win the game at the end. And he told me that you can't win a game 5 or 7 without playing well. You got to play well, as you got to play hard, you got to play smart, but you got to play well. And even though these first 3 minutes have been slow, sloppy, and not very well, I think it helps Detroit. Because I think for New Jersey to find an answer, they got to start playing well.
Billups has 14, Hamilton has 14. The Palace guards have 28. The entire Jersey team has 31. Every time the Piston guards play well, they win. Jefferson scraped the rim. Rasheed Wallace will pick up his third foul. George, we were talking yesterday at the Pistons practice about Game 7s and what it did to you physically as a coach. Were they tough days and nights before those games?
Well, you forget, first of all, early in my career, I forgot to sleep and eat. And then the days are so long.
That hasn't happened in a while, has it?
Your turn over there.
I actually coached the game.
Actually turn over there.
That where I forgot to eat, and about 6 o'clock I started getting dizzy. And so all of a sudden the cookies and the candy bars go in your mouth. But it's a different stage. You know, we can talk about playoff basketball, but 7th games are a different stage.
The Pistons with a Ben Wallace outside jumper. Lawrence Frank has to take a 20. The lead is 19. The Pistons are pressing. They haven't gotten the timeout yet. And now Kenyon Martin gets it. Wallace is hit 5 of 6. And they're on their feet at the Palace again. And it's 7-0 to start the half in Game 7. Well, he has made a name of himself as an undrafted player, as a shot blocker and a defender. But tonight, somebody check Ben Wallace. Michelle Tafoya, he's 5 of 6 from the field.
He is. He grew up the son of sharecroppers in Benton, Alabama, which in the late 60s was the smallest town in the United States. He was the 10th of 11 kids, 8 boys, 3 girls. And for most of his young life, his family didn't have a car. They were the last family in the area to get electricity. Mike, during the springs and summers to help earn money, Ben used to set up shop on the family's porch, wave down local cars, and offer, of all things, haircuts for $3.
These days, it's either the cornrows or the throws from Big Ben, and his wife makes the call before each game. Jason Kidd, another miss. The Pistons can take it over 20 with the advantage. You guys alluded to it before. Ben Wallace never looked for offense in the half court last year. He is this year. Kittles can't complete the three-point play, but the foul is called on Ben Wallace.
That is 3 shots within 2 feet. You just got to be able to make. And watch this right here. The big fella, Ben Wallace, tracking him down, going to make him earn it from the line. I remember talking to Ben last year during the Eastern Conference Finals and asked him, I go, with that body of yours, you ever think about playing football? And he said, yeah, Auburn recruited me and wanted me to come down there and play football on a scholarship, and he asked if he could play both ways. And he meant basketball and football. They thought he meant offensive defense. So when he got down there and he talked basketball, they said, no, you can play offensive defense if you want. He said, forget about it. I'm not going to Auburn University.
Just picked up his first foul. Wallace is a free agent who signed with Washington, earned his way into the league in '96. We're talking about football, and Steve Mariucci, the Lions coach there, watching on. He was 3 years in Washington, then went to Orlando, and he got to Orlando via a trade for our ESPN colleague Tim Legler. He ended up here in Detroit in the Grant Hill sign and trade that has worked out obviously very well for the Pistons and has burdened the Magic over the last couple of years. Rasheed Wallace, part of the trade at the deadline 3 months ago, and a big piece, if healthy, in a Piston run that might get to the next round. Billups met Jefferson. He fouled him. That's a good call. Two on Chauncey Billups.
Well, Rasheed Wallace right now is just bigger, taller, longer. Scalabrine has no chance of getting close to that one. Better, smarter, older. And I told you it's Scalabrine time.
Yeah, Brian Scalabrine coming in because at some point you've got to look down your bench and say, hey, we're down 19. I need a wild card. I need somebody who's going to hit a home run. Brian Scalabrine was that wild card, hitting 4 for 4 from three-point range in the triple overtime. 17 points in Game 5, too shy of his entire rest of a playoff career. How about Richard Jefferson, guys? 75% shooter in the playoffs, 0 for 2.
What's scary is in New Jersey, you're down 19, and if you keep going at this pace, you might not get 65, which means Detroit, all they have to do is score by another 20 to win this game.
And the whole thing is Detroit's got everybody playing well. Billups is playing well.
Ice!
This game's in danger zone.
Oh, it's past that.
22-point lead. Wallace deflected it. Kittles takes a tough three that never even sniffed the rim. Richard Hamilton's calling for it on the left wing. Chauncey Billups is feeling it. Ben Wallace was held on his way up. And right now, it is all Detroit in Game 7.
New Jersey's pretty close to having to pay their incidentals and check out of the playoffs. Really close.
Billups on the spin with defense by Kenyon Martin. Who will it be? It's got to be somebody if New Jersey wants to get back to the Eastern Conference Championship for the 3rd straight year. It can't be that. Another turnover at 12. Larry Brown here will take a timeout. It sounds like the glory days of '89 and '90 once again in the Palace.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by Sky Sport, the new low-carb ultra-premium malt beverage with a taste of citrus and cranberry.
They've been on their feet here in the Palace, which opened back in November of 1988. Right when Joe Dumars was on the floor for the Piston teams that went to 3 consecutive NBA Finals. 2 of them against the Lakers. You're a bit away. Have to get through this half, and then, of course, the formidable Indiana Pacers. Bill Davidson hopes that will happen. The owner is keeping an eye on the Tampa Bay Lightning, the team in the NHL that he owns. The Lightning leading at the second intermission by the score of 3-2. Actually, 10 minutes left with the 1-goal lead at 4-3. Sitting next to his wife, Karen, as he watches ESPN2 and the broadcast exclusively around America of Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Calgary are waiting in the Stanley Cup Finals. Rasheed Wallace on Kenyon Martin. So much conversation about these two all year, all series. And Ben Wallace crashing the offensive glass was fouled. Well, 33 points means 2 in this half, and just means awful numbers.
The old turnover to assist ratio is never good when you have more turnovers than you have assists. And what can you say? That just stinks.
You could expect a defensive game and maybe a bad offensive game, but what they've not done is they're bad defensively.
Rasheed missed the 3.
Well, they got to find some offense. They have to find a way to get guys to the free throw line, make the free throws. Every opportunity you get from now on in, you have to take advantage when you get open.
Scalabrini tried to get it going with 3. Ben Wallace ingested that rebound. He looked like the trunk of an elephant. Mike James. Wallace on the finish. Gary Kittle's inside. The first Nets field goal of the half. They were 0 of their first 8 here in the 3rd.
Oh, they're bomb happy on that one, weren't they? They worked about 7 or 8 of them out on him.
Martin has Prince. That means it's a mismatch with Rasheed Wallace. He's got Jefferson. He's got 2.
High five in the front row as he goes by.
He's playing a pretty good game.
Yes, he has.
Now on the outside, on Detroit. A hole on the jersey. 3rd quarter, we talked about who would bring the energy for the Nets. The energy has been brought by Detroit in general, Ben Wallace in specific.
Well, not only getting rebounds, hitting a jump shot. You see the offensive monster jam right there. You know what else he's done? He's drawn 2 fouls by going to the board.
Yeah.
They've had to hold him to keep him off the offensive board.
Rasheed Wallace going to the bench as Kittles makes his first. Corliss Williamson is coming to the game for Detroit. And now Chauncey Billups will come in to get Rip Hamilton.
And before you think this is over, which it's being close to, but Detroit can go through stretches too of 6 and 7 minutes where they may make 1 field goal. I know it's a little more difficult to hold them to that at home, but don't think Detroit's just going to keep scoring at this pace, because they've proven they can go into a drought just as well as the Nets.
They visited the Sahara for Sahara-like droughts on a regular basis. Remember, they scored just 64 in Game 3. The Nets were held to 56 in Game 1. Tayshaun Prince couldn't buy one with a blank check tonight. He's 0 for 5. Kenyon Martin's 3 of 9. So Martin, Jefferson, and Kidd are 7 of 24. Your big guns have to show up big? Not yet. Not for New Jersey. Corliss Williamson, from his office, draws the Aaron Williams foul. Reminder, our friends at TNT will bring you the Western Conference Finals, Game 1 of Lakers, Minnesota at 9 Eastern tomorrow night. You know, George, the one thing in that series that intrigues me, the guys talked about at halftime, all the matchups, Sam Cassell, Gary Payton, they'll be going head-to-head, and they were your backcourt last year in these playoffs.
Well, I'm really excited for both of them because they both have had great careers, and now they have a chance. One of them will get to go to the finals again. Sam's been there twice, maybe 3 times, and Gary's been there 1 time. So I think one of them is going to get to the finals again, and they both deserve it. They're both great veteran players. And I think Sam being beat up, Gary might have the advantage.
Billups comes for the double. Mike James was called for the foul. Mike James, who started those 55 games for Boston, just a strong, physical defender at 6'2", 190 pounds. Tommy, what do you see in Lakers Timberwolves?
Well, I think the Lakers defense, what stands out for me in the last 4 games against San Antonio, certainly with Garnett and Spree and Cassell, you got 2 guys that have finals experience. Cassell's won a couple, Spree went once with the New York Knicks, but I just don't know. I'm not going to say Minnesota doesn't have a chance. They don't believe that. I think Minnesota does have a chance the way they're playing. But the Laker defense was pretty stifling the last 4 games of the San Antonio series. And if they play like that, especially Shaq, if he plays like he's been playing, you're not going to get a lot of easy buckets. They're going to be tough to beat.
2 quick thoughts. Shaq, Garnett, and Kobe, perhaps 3 of the 5 best players in all of the NBA, a tough guard on each side. And last night's game by Garnett was extraordinary. But you have to wonder, does Chris Webber have bad basketball karma? He made a great attempt to get a goal at the end of the game. Looked like he hurt his knee again. And that 3 was halfway down. I mean, it was in for somebody else. Things always happen to Webb for some reason.
Well, you look at the Kings the last 3 years. It was Pager 2 years ago, Webber last year, Bobby Jackson, and a Gimpy Webber this year. I think that franchise will be close next year.
Wallace fouled by Williams inside. The lead is 22. Let's visit with Michelle one more time.
Well, you guys talking about Minnesota, and Chauncey Billups, a former Minnesota Timberwolves, stays in very close touch with Kevin Garnett. He's really happy, he told me earlier, for all of KG's success this season. They talked throughout the season. Chauncey said, look, I root for most games. Obviously, we meet each other, and he's really hoping to meet Kevin Garnett in the finals. Some people may think that's a stretch. Chauncey Billups does not.
Look at Chauncey's mercurial route, all of his stops. This is the first place he's been able to put down roots. That 97 draft, as Wallace goes 1 of 2, it was Tim Duncan #1, Keith Van Horn #2, and then Billups taken by Boston. And Rick Pitino thought he had a gold mine, and the guy who spent 2 years at Colorado. Didn't pan out with the Celtics. Certainly has become a key contributor to this Detroit team, trying to go to the Eastern Conference Finals for a second consecutive year.
Ingesting, engulfing, inhaling. He was just sucking up rebounds now.
And Kenyon Martin has picked up his personal foul. This will be his second.
You know, Ben Wallace should get an endorsement for that Under Armour, because he looks like, to me, he's wearing armor. No one else out there looks like that body and his power and strength. It looks like he's just got a different body than everybody else.
Oh, he does.
And, you know, I just think everybody who ever has played the game of basketball or been involved in the game of basketball loves Ben Wallace. You know, they love to see the guy, how he's made his career, how he's moved into career, now become a dominant player on a great basketball team. And, you know, he does it with just work as much as he does it with skill.
Undrafted to All-Star.
Yep.
Was the Defensive Player of the Year, was unhappy that he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year, won by Ron Artest in Indiana, when Rick Carlisle did a great job. Rick is so good for his guys, had his staff put together stats to show how great Artest was defensively. Inside, Aaron Williams gets the dunk there. That stat package is part of the reason, along with the great play of Ron Artest, that a guy who defends 2s and 3s and Artest was able to win the Defensive Player of the Year. But Wallace had some critical comments about that. Prince can't get going. Out of bounds, off the net. It'll be interesting to watch if this lead holds up. Ben Wallace go against his old coach and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Ron Artest, with the past Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA, Ben Wallace.
Later on SportsCenter, live post-game coverage and analysis from Detroit. The Lakers may have to do it without Kobe. Philly looks to steal the Lightning's thunder. And gone for Barry? After the game, ESPN.
In trying to construct a champion, they built a wall of Wallaces here in Detroit. And Ben Wallace and Rasheed, a big reason this team is up 23. You're seeing in Ben Wallace tonight what we have seen as this man's become an all-star, Tom.
The guy is right there, relentless. He pursues everything. He never gives up. Watch this. That's not his area. He goes and gets it and makes it his area. Heck, the whole court is his area. Right there, tracking down Kerry Kittles. Not going to give up the easy bucket. Martin over the back. No, thank you. I'll take that one. This guy is just nonstop energy. And then what do you know? He shows up on the offensive end. A defensive rebound, an offensive putback. The guy is pure energy.
And New Jersey has not had an energy player to match thus far here tonight. Lucius Harris and Rodney Rogers, their 2 main bench players, come in to join Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson, and Kenyon Martin. They're 3 stars. Trying to pull them somewhere within hailing distance heading to the 4th. They keep giving it to Tayshaun Prince, who keeps missing it. And Corliss Williamson picks up the foul. Prince is 0 for 7 tonight. Here again, Michelle.
You guys were talking about Ben Wallace. His off-season workout regimen, he curls 200 pounds, pushes 150 on the tricep press, benches 460. His regimen includes burnouts. He puts 50 pounds on a curl bar, does a single rep, puts it down, then 2 reps, puts it down, and so on until he reaches 20 reps. Now, I'd like to see the 3 of you try that.
Together?
I did that yesterday.
Together. That would be good. You might achieve it together.
I do burnouts too. I start with a case, then I go to a 12-pack, then I go to a single.
Richard Jefferson, your former fellow Arizona Wildcat, has been awful at the line tonight. 4 of 9, now 5 of 10 for a 76% shooter in the regular season, 74 in the postseason.
Well, they've just missed too many easy opportunities. Free throw line, layups, open jump shots. You can get away with that sometimes when you're at home. When you're on the road, when you're the road team, you have to play a cleaner game.
Oh, good night. I mean, are you kidding me?
Ben Wallace getting a touch out of the timeout. Larry Brown feeding him. He's been doing so much of the dirty work. Here, give me a play. He goes in and draws the foul by Rodney Rogers, finishes, and it's going to 25.
He's always the last one to leave a Pistons practice. He's always working on his shot. Fans would be so afraid when Wallace would take a shot last year. It's like you'd see them take the fetal position in unison. Don't shoot. But he has gained confidence this year because of what you said as Kenyon Martin scores. And George, it goes back to the school you're from, North Carolina, the Dean Smith School of good things happen when you go inside first. Right. And you've got to have a guy on the floor with some confidence to take that shot inside.
And I think Larry's encouraged him.
Stop it.
Timeout Nets. Eight of 9 from the field, 18 points, 6 rebounds.
Look at that. He knows it's going in, too.
He looks like Tom Tolbert on the jumper.
Way, gooseneck. That's unbelievable. 15 bong tonight? Wow, that's a lot of bongs for one night.
Banging the big gong,
bong, whatever you want to call it.
You know, it is nice to see in so many ways. And we had on ABC the Lakers game on Mother's Day, and Ahmad Rashad had a great visit with Karl Malone. So emotional playing on Mother's Day after his mom passed away this summer. I remember back to the All-Star game a couple of years ago when Ben Wallace's mom passed away before the game in Atlanta. He was really unable to enjoy the All-Star experience, able to enjoy it this year at the Staples Center, but he too played on Mother's Day and came out with just a fury and a passion and a dedication that was extraordinary. And he's bringing some of that to the table here and making his late mom, Sadie, very, very proud here tonight. The Detroit Pistons are 13 minutes and 42 seconds from returning to the NBA's Eastern Conference Finals. We'll have exclusive coverage games 1 through 7. Game 1 and 2 at Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Also available all 7 games on ESPN HD at 8 Eastern. Note the later start time, Game 3 Wednesday night. The game will be preceded not just by Kia NBA shoot-around, but also the Nokia NBA Draft Lottery, which is also going to be like a reality show for a high school prom date with all the high school guys that are going to go at the top of the draft. We'll be there for that on Wednesday night before the pregame, before Game 3, either in New Jersey or much more likely here at the Palace. You can add words to a lot of things, but those numbers tell you a lot of what you need to know tonight.
But just never got on track. I mean, early on, he just didn't have the confidence. Another turnover.
Hamilton the steal. Wallace booted it as they were trying to get the fast break. Kenyon Martin lost Corliss Williamson, got inside, and will have a chance for a three-point play. Michelle?
Well, Lawrence Frank has to be happy with that aggressiveness. What is it like to be in a huddle with Jason Kidd, who is sitting on a heating pad, by the way, for that lower back that is hurting, and with a team that is down by this many? I mean, the first thing Lawrence Frank said to his team in that last timeout was, we have one choice, and that is to keep fighting. He drew up some plays, but primarily he wants to see them continue to attack the basket and try to play with a little bit of pride, Mike.
He's gone for every wild card possible. Brandon Armstrong, the third-year player out of Pepperdine, has come in here in the last couple of minutes. A guard just to give him a few minutes. As Jason sits with that heating pad Michelle talked about. Kidd denied all week that he had a bad back. But obviously it is the combination of the back, the knee, and the defense. Billups sees Armstrong out there trying to take it to him. Rodney Rogers' help defense forces the turnover.
We want to get a little bit of a run right here for New Jersey. Just something to feel good about. 6-0 run, 7-0 run. And if you can get it down to 16, 15, the other team starts thinking, why don't we blow you guys out? Why are you guys still hanging around? Then maybe at 3, another 3, you're down to 10, 9. And then 10-point lead still pretty big, but you want to make the other team think we're still in.
Rodney Rogers the miss. Tayshaun clinched the rebound.
We got to make a shot.
I'm trying to find something there.
Maybe finding Corliss Williamson would be a help.
Find the Indiana Pacers scouting report.
We know the Pacers are going to have a good scouting report on the Pistons. If it gets to that, of course, Rick Carlisle, the coach here the last 2 years. Martin's showing a lot of energy. Ben Wallace fouls him. I say that because that's what you come to appreciate from Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
You know, you can be hanging your head. This is a team that has made it to the NBA Finals back-to-back years. And Kenyon Martin, as things have gone south for his team, has been their heart. 13 points, 11 rebounds here tonight.
Don't you got to mention that could this be the last game that Kenyon Martin plays in a New Jersey Net uniform?
Obviously, it's been a long season. That was coming up after the free throw. Let's let Michelle start the story.
Well, earlier at shoot-around, he bristled at that question. Reporters did say to him, you know, this might be your last game in a New Jersey Nets uniform. He didn't like that question. They didn't come to a contract extension agreement. He will be a restricted free agent after this season, which means, of course, the Nets can match any offer. He said to me today, I love my teammates. That's all that matters. I love New Jersey. I love being around the guys, and I've resolved myself to think that I've done all I can, and the ball is in the Nets' court. Mike?
And the overriding issue is Brandon Armstrong with the foul there, and the Nets don't have a foul to give. Neither team does in the last half minute of this quarter. You have an ownership change imminent, I would say, with the Nets, the group led by Bruce Ratner, trying to move the team to Brooklyn. The NBA owners voting on approval of that coming up, likely, as David Stern alluded to earlier in this playoff run, sometime in the next month. There are some people who believe the Nets will never play in Brooklyn. There's a lot of people who say this. Ben Wallace comes out here. We'll let you hear this hand. Those naysayers, it's a lot less to do with the basketball part and more all the political red tape that has to happen to get this huge complex going in Brooklyn. Needless to say, the Nets ownership question has to be resolved before you make a decision on extending or re-signing or matching a huge Kenyon Martin contract offer, which a couple of teams do have the cap room to give it.
Well, every team in the NBA right now is questioning should you pay anybody the max unless the top 4 or 5 players in the game of basketball.
Rodney Rogers comes to the basket. Before the shot clock violation, a foul was called. You think about putting the pieces together of championship teams or championship contending teams. In Detroit, they had to decide, do we give Jerry Stackhouse big money after Grant Hill was gone and there was no star but Stackhouse here? Joe Dumars pulled the trigger on the most underrated move, but I think one of the key moves in his tenure. Stackhouse, Richard Hamilton. Trade made with Washington has worked out great for the Pistons.
I enjoy the comparison of Isaiah and Joe Dumars and Chauncey Billups and Richard Hamilton. Richard Hamilton has moved into being one of the best off guards in the NBA, and Chauncey has slowly and quietly solidified himself as an all-star caliber point guard. And the defense, the toughness of the early Piston teams of the 90s, and this team has a similar toughness led by their offensive guards.
Billups counted by Armstrong. Final 3, he takes a 3. And that will do it for the third quarter. The largest fourth quarter comeback in a Game 7 in NBA history, 15 points. Lakers did it to Portland. The number's a little bigger here tonight. It is a 23-point Detroit Piston lead. A dominant quarter. They've kept the Nets in the teens all 3 quarters. Do it again, they'll see Indiana in the conference finals.
You're watching the day after tomorrow's presentation of ESPN's Play Like There's No Tomorrow.
Well, there is no tomorrow for one of these teams. Well, there's tomorrow, but it's on the first team. The other team's going to the first game of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Nets are gaining on 20 in a quarter. They've been held in the teens for 16 of the 27 regulation quarters in this series and are in a 23-point hole to start the fourth. With George Karl, Tom Tolbert, Michelle Tafoya, Mike Tirico, glad you're with us here at the Palace of Auburn Hills for this deciding game as the home teams might maintain their dominant run in Game 7. 72-15 all-time in Game 7 in NBA history. It starts with a turnover for Lawrence Frank's team. You know, guys, in so many ways, Lawrence Frank, who was a manager for Bobby Knight, then earned his way as an assistant, working with several good coaches along the way. Marquette, Tennessee, Kevin O'Neal, who was an assistant here at Detroit, and the coach of the Raptors this year. On through a good run with the Grizzlies, then the Nets, and replaced Byron Scott late in January. In so many ways, what happens here tonight, plus this postseason, after the Hamilton miss, is a referendum on, in some ways, Jason Kidd, in some ways, Lawrence Frank. I think that story is a little bit over headline, but Jefferson misses a 2. Nobody says it publicly, but everybody you listen to will tell you Jason Kidd didn't want to play for Byron Scott anymore. Forced the issue. The coaching change was made to Lawrence Frank. Wallace finally misses. And when you have a team that got to the Eastern Finals and won 2 years in a row and doesn't get back to that level this year, criticism will be going somewhere. Rodney Rogers at 3 to make it 20. Some will point it to Jason Kidd for forcing the coaching issue. Some will say, hey, here's Lawrence Frank, a guy who only coached 40 regular season games and took this team into the playoffs. The reality is there were some injuries, team not 100%. Ran up against a much better Detroit team here in round 2, but a lot of conclusions will be drawn. Lawrence, for the record, as Hamilton throws up an air ball, Lawrence is still the interim coach. He has not been given the full-time head coaching job, but everybody believes that he will be given a contract extension as we get towards next season.
Well, in basketball, much more than any other sport, you better get along with your star player. If you don't get along with your star player, they're not going to get rid of the star player. They're going to get rid of the coach. Only 12 athletes on a basketball team. Guys making upwards of $20 million. Well-paid coaches, you know, make 7, maybe 8 top guys. That's maybe only 1 or 2 guys.
Who's making 8?
Most guys, well, you were close. Most guys are around, let's say 3 or 4. So, I mean, it's a financial decision. And you said, remember the one time an owner decided to keep a coach instead of a player. Golden State with Melly and Chris Webber, and that thing unraveled. And you see the GM right there, the New Jersey Nets, Rod Torrance. But that's the situation in the NBA. You better have your back of your best player.
Jason Kidd 0 for 7. Rodney Rogers has hit back-to-back threes and getting close. This is what you talked about, Tom. It's within 17 and nearly a turnover that Mike James chases down for Detroit. And Larry Brown doesn't like the way things are going here. Back-to-back threes have cut it. So he takes the timeout. 9:48 to go. The Nets showing a last sign of life.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by The Day After Tomorrow. When it's all on the line, play like there's no tomorrow. And the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution.
Kevin Frazier, Greg Anthony in the studio. What a hockey game over on ESPN2. Trailing 4-3, less than 2 minutes to play.
Primo.
Philly finds life, Greg.
Primo.
Oh, Keith Primo.
I'm pulling for Philly.
Are you? Well, Keith Primo ties it up at 4-all. We're in the intermission before overtime. You can bounce over to ESPN2 to check it out. Game 7, Saturday.
But our game ain't over yet. Don't leave.
Okay. Oh, you're saying it's not over yet?
It's not over.
Okay, well, if there is a Game 7 between the Flyers and Tampa Bay Lightning, well, then it'll be Saturday on the
Again, guys, Bill Davidson, the owner of both the Pistons and the Lightning, as we told you, if you weren't with us earlier. You're watching the game on ESPN2 on that little white TV down there as he sits front row and watches his Pistons, who now lead here by 17, and led by as many as 25 in this second half and started the third quarter with a big margin as well. 69-42 they're up 25. 73-50 to start the third. We mentioned that Laker-Portland game back 4 years ago, the 13-point fourth quarter deficit that changed the direction of those franchises. Rasheed Wallace was on that Portland team and had a great statistical game, but that fourth quarter just was as drastic a reversal as you could ever see in a playoff game. The Lakers went on to win the title. Hamilton rimmed it out. Mehmet Okur in the game, battling Richard Jefferson, and will stay with the Pistons.
Very quietly, Okur has come in off the Piston bench and given him a lot of extra possessions with some rebounds. I think he's going to be a big factor throughout the rest of the playoffs. How many minutes and how many quality minutes Detroit can get from him.
He has 4 rebounds and just 1 field goal. Ben Wallace has been the offensive king for the Pistons here tonight with 18 points, missing just 2 field goals. Richard Hamilton doesn't have a field goal in the half. Chauncey Billups hit the deck hard. And here are the Nets in transition. Jefferson, 15-point game with 9:10 to go.
We talked about a little earlier. You go from 25 to 15, and 15 is still a substantial lead. But if you're the Pistons, you're thinking, how do we let this get to 15? So you're not thinking about what you should be doing. You're thinking about what you could have done to already salt this game away.
A 9-0 run is stopped by a Billups 3.
That being said,
that's what kills. That's what when a comeback comes, and then all you got to do is make 1 shot.
Yeah.
And that shot now is deflated the balloon, and New Jersey's got to blow it back up.
Rodney Rogers, 2 threes in the quarter, rims out a third. Ben Wallace rebound.
Just the best. Almost hit the fro going by there. The fro's better. We talked about what a great body that guy has. Fro's better though. He's got to blow that thing out more often.
Hamilton the triple. Back-to-back threes. Remove much of the doubt. And remember, we talked earlier about the timeout that the Nets don't have because they called one at the end of the first half. They have 1 to take at some point here in this fourth quarter. But that is it. Billups and Hamilton have hit 7 3-pointers tonight. Hamilton forces the steal. And here he is with Okur.
I think here comes the timeout.
It would have been, he was thinking about calling it and then realized, I don't have one. After the 9-0 run, 8-0 in 61 seconds for Detroit. Martin, like a drive block on Rasheed Wallace down the lane, and a foul is called on Ben Wallace. Told you at the very top in the lineups, if the Pistons were going to win tonight, the Palace guards had to show up, and Billups and Hamilton have. They've knocked down 7 long guns.
And that's going to be the biggest advantage that the Detroit Pistons has over the Indiana Pacers, is their guards versus Indiana guards. I think it's going to be the matchup that's going to determine the outcome of that series.
I can't wait to watch the former teammates go at it. Rasheed Wallace, Jermaine O'Neal. There's a lot of fun matchups to watch in that series. And you know, I think for the first time, maybe in the last, you see the backcourt scoring there, just domination, plus 25 for the Pistons. I can't say that I've been just hyped up to watch an Eastern Conference Finals the last 4 or 5 years. This year, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be exciting.
You just insulted my guy here.
No, that was 5 years ago, wasn't it?
Oh, man.
Was it 4 years ago?
3 years ago.
That series. That was a bad series.
That was a great series.
No, it was a great. No, that was a fun series.
Hamilton rims it out the rebound.
That was the 7th game I lost.
No, that was a good. You're right. I mean, you guys were a lot of fun to watch. The series was fun, very exciting. But it was exciting, but I wasn't like hyped to watch it beforehand.
Jefferson was pushed by Tayshaun Prince, and a foul called by Danny Crawford. We talked about Game 7 and the importance of every element, including the officiating has been great tonight.
Yeah. We haven't mentioned it.
George, the officiating's been great.
I can't go great. Good. I'll say it was good. I can't go great.
Come on, Mike. You know you can't get him to say that.
That was the whole point. They said it was on the shot, but they got together. Eddie F. Rush, Ronnie Garrettson, and Dan Crawford. It was on the pass. And so it will be inbounded by the Nets. 2 team fouls on the Pistons. None on the Nets. 7 minutes to go. And the lead, 22. Rodney Rogers has had a nice quarter and a nice game. 11 off the New Jersey bench, including 2 threes. 8 of those 11 coming here in the final frame. Tayshaun Prince.
Oh, I thought he might get a field goal.
Yeah, he is bagel.
Turnover.
None made tonight. Transition. Rogers cannot add to it. Kidd chasing Hamilton. Richard with the pull-up pop.
If this stays at plus 20,
yep.
Can we like get one of these monitors on the deuce?
Well, there you see the score. We continue to watch the update. Go sit by Mr. Davidson. I think he go the other way. A foul on Jefferson.
So it's been a good series, a very strong series. Well, and to end it this way is somewhat disappointing. New Jersey, 3 years really of being a top team has faded here in Game 7. But in general, they persevered through a 2-0 deficit. They busted. They played hard. They surprised, I think, Detroit by winning 3 games straight. And now they're down to where the series is over.
Larry Brown's running set for Tayshaun Prince, trying to get him a basket. Notice that? Offensive foul. 0 for 7. Here on the night in Game 7. Jason Kidd, pointless. Never in his 72 prior playoff games has that happened. He doesn't have to score for them to win, but nothing and not dominating the game ain't gonna happen. The Detroit Pistons lead New Jersey by 22. The Pistons' 6th ever Game 7 as a Detroit team. New Jersey's first ever NBA Game 7. And here is the Chevrolet game track. How we've arrived at this point. Detroit guards, 41-14. Can't add much to that. Outside shooting of Billups and Hamilton have been solid, freeing up the inside for the rebounding work and interior play of the Wallaces. And Jason Kidd, pointless. Michelle Tafoya told us had a heating pad on his back. That problem combined with his knee. And Ben Wallace approaching a playoff career best. He has 18 points here on the night. Great field goal shooting for Wallace here this evening. The hard hats, the theme of this team for the last couple of years has been going to work. And, you know, a team that plays their style of basketball, a lot of defense, low-scoring games, is not a very attractive team to watch on a national scale. You have seen Sacramento, and those teams put up great numbers. But in this city, a city that still has blue-collar roots and a great appreciation for hard work, as Kenyon Martin gets that to go, 20-point game. This team's defensive style started with Rick Carlisle the last 2 years, continued with Larry Brown this year, fits the fabric of this area so well, and it is appreciated. If you think about it, the Detroit Stars athletically who've been loved. Just recently, Kirk Gibson, blue-collar guy, hard-nosed guy. Steve Eiserman of the Red Wings, same deal. Ben Wallace is the loved player of this team. Rasheed Wallace misses the 3, and Rodney Rogers gets the move. So the defensive style is very appealing to the fans in this building. Jason Kidd still cannot. 0 for 8 tonight.
Is that Bong for the rebound or the brick?
No, the rebound.
Oh, okay.
The rebound for Ben.
Well, we talked about what the guards have done tonight, but they haven't shot that well. 13 for 36. You would take that. But where they killed them is 7 for 14 from beyond the strike.
Going to leave Tayshaun Prince and Jason Kidd out here until somebody makes one. And the Pistons get it back.
You know, it's not that bad, though, when you haven't got a field goal and you're up 20. Nobody pays that much attention to it. They look at the box score the next day.
Wallace missed the 3. You saw 6 minutes in to the Game 6 overtime. The Lightning, owned by the same people who own the Pistons, trying to close out the Flyers. That game live on ESPN 2. Rodney Rogers is fouled by Rasheed Wallace. Guys, before we look ahead, let's look at the Nets as they're constituted right now. We talked about the Lawrence Frank issue and the other issues that are ahead here. What do you think? this Nets team has to do to return to Eastern Conference champs, which they have been for the last 2 years?
Well, I think they got to adapt to the two teams that have moved ahead of them, Indiana and Detroit. Detroit right now, I'm watching this series, is bigger. Their front line is taller, they're longer, and they're probably as athletic as New Jersey is. So I think their front line, they tried to address that situation this year by signing Alonzo Mourning. That did not work out for them. Now they probably will have to maneuver somewhere, I think, in the next few months to find probably a 30-minute player for their front line and also re-sign Kenyon Martin.
There is Alonzo, who was out of basketball, of course, with the kidney problems, and then came back, played so hard, and then once again, those kidneys problems continued for Mourning to the point where he had to get a transplant just before Christmas time. Great to see him on the road. He's made a couple of playoff road trips. Looks good, is feeling good, and he's so happy for that. But from a basketball standpoint, the Nets made a big financial commitment to him. Pushed that way by Jason Kidd, who should come out. And this was a move that did not work for this team. Hamilton puts the Pistons back up by 20.
I think New Jersey's going to be better next year just because Richard Jefferson's going to be a better basketball player. He's going to be more mature. He's going to have the Olympic experience under his belt. And if you talk to any guys that played on the Olympic team, they say they get so much better practicing against those type of players. I think he comes back, Kid's healthy. Ideally, you'd like him to get a drop-dead shooter in the half court, guys who can run off picks and screens and guys that will hit those shots. You'd like to get a guy that can draw some double teams down to the block. As good as Kenyon Martin is and as active as he is, you don't really have to double him down to the block. That being said, it's hard to get a guy who needs to be doubled. But in the draft, a shooter would be a priority.
Chris Stitch, who's set to come over from overseas, who they've had on their roster drafted back a year plus ago. And you have the expansion draft coming up where you must protect players. The Charlotte Bobcats will be picking at rosters. Kerry Kittles could perhaps be the player left unprotected. So a lot of off-season issues ahead for the Nets. Hamilton gunned up the triple. And back come the Nets the other way with Jefferson, who lost it. Rasheed Wallace goaltending as he blocked the Kerry Kittles layup attempt.
But I think the Nets are, I think they're in good shape. I still think they're a quality team in the East, and give them a lot of credit. I mean, they had 2 years, a tremendous 2 years. Team up short against a better team this year, but they got a lot. They got a lot of good players on the team. 2 of their cornerstones, if they keep Kenyon Martin, you got a 3 and a 4 who are starters in this league, and I think they get a little tinkering here and there. But when you have cornerstone players, you always got a chance, and they have those.
One more for Prince. Oh! He finally hits it, and that will be in the exclamation point. After 8 misses, Prince bangs a triple. The Nets take their last timeout, and New Jersey is on its way out. The doors to the Palace will stay open. The Pistons are going back to the conference finals.
Later on SportsCenter, live post-game coverage and analysis from Detroit. The Lakers may have to do it without Kobe. Philly looks to steal the Lightning's thunder. And gone for Barry after the game, ESPN.
Kevin Frazier and Greg Anthony in the studio. You can tune over to ESPN2 right now because it's a heck of a hockey game going on. Lightning and Flyers all knotted at 4 in overtime. If a Game 7 is forced, Greg.
I think there will be a Game 7.
You believe in Philly?
Faith in Philly.
You believe in Philly right now? Okay, well,
in
if there's a Game 7, you can catch it Saturday night at 7 Eastern. That's if it's necessary. If you want to check out the hockey game, bounce over to ESPN2.
It's necessary.
Mike?
Thank you, man. I've got Keith Primo in the overtime pool there. We will have on Saturday night here on ESPN, Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Pistons and Pacers. Indiana winning the series 3-1. Very tight one the first week of the season. Pacers won by 5 with a fourth quarter comeback by Detroit, a blowout there. Pistons had won 13 in a row until Indiana got a 12-point win in January. And the first game with the Pistons as currently constituted was a dominating performance in a game seen on ABC. Won by 18. Guys, first thoughts on that series?
No one's going to score over 80 points.
Kittles to make.
1970.
I think it's a grind, a possession, low possession.
Rick Carlisle knowing half this roster, factor, non-factor.
A factor. It's going to be a good soap opera to see them come back together. I think it'll end in a good way.
Rick has had nothing but first-class things to say about the Piston organization, as you heard in Kia NBA shoot-around when the guys talked to him. Corliss Williamson, that's an offensive foul, no basket. He ran into Brian Scalabrine and Darko Milicic, the number 3 overall pick, or 2 overall pick, I should say, in the draft, will check in here at the end of the game.
What about his ears there? You're like covering up his earrings?
It looks like they are newly pierced, perhaps.
Playoff piercings?
Yeah, he did score 1 point in one of the Milwaukee games. Of course, Milicic, the second pick between LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, and a lot of criticism and talk about that. He is still a ways away, but you might see him a little bit more next year. Remember, Jason Kidd yet to score in this game, where Zoran Pruninic on the floor for New Jersey for Kidd. This will be Jason's first ever scoreless playoff game. And here comes Darko on the low block. It happens every time he comes in the game. Rodney Rogers pushing him out to 40 feet. It took it away, the air ball. The Saturday night game 1 at Conseco Fieldhouse. Brad Nessler, Doc Rivers, Michelle, and Jim Gray will join you. The shoot-around before that, the Kia NBA shoot-around to get it going. While we have a second before we check out here, thank you to all the women and men on our ESPN and ABC team all year. Everybody behind the scenes, all the people around the league too. Players, coaches, public relations directors who make our job so easy. We look forward to the conference finals exclusively in the East on ESPN, exclusively on TNT for the West. Heading to the finals on ABC starting June 6th. The Detroit Pistons will win Game 7. The home team will go to 73-15 all time. The Nets will lose their first NBA Game 7. And their run as the champs of the Eastern Conference will come to an end. Pruninic kicked it to Scalabrine for 3. It's off the mark. There'll be a new champion in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. And Detroit, your Pistons are going back to the conference finals. 90-69, the final score. Jason Kidd, without a point in this decisive Game 7, goes over to see Larry Brown, who he has worked with USA Basketball. A lot of respect from these people. Larry Brown now 5-3 in his NBA career in Game 7s as well. Michelle with Richard Hamilton.
Rip, if someone had told you would come into Game 7 of this series, a hard-fought series, and beat this team this way, holding Jason Kidd scoreless, what would you have said?
Wow. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, we worked so hard to get a game here, especially play New Jersey the way they played last year against us. And we wanted to fight. And I think tonight, everybody came together and we fought.
And now you look forward to playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. Just getting there, what does that mean to this team?
Man, we just don't want to get there. You know, I think it's a lot of things that we want to accomplish. And we're still one step away, and we got to go out. And it's going to be a hard-fought series, and we got to be ready.
Well, someone who's going to help you be ready is standing next to you. Thanks, Rip. I'm going to move over to Ben Wallace. You were 2 times the Defensive Player of the Year. Tonight, you got your offense going. How hard have you been working on your shot, Ben?
I mean, I work on my shot every day. You know, the coaching staff, my teammates just keep encouraging me to go out there and take shots. And tonight, I want to take chances. If we're going down, I want to go down fine.
Twice, like I said, Defensive Player of the Year. This year, Ron Artest of the Pacers took it. You guys face them next. How much are you looking forward to playing Ron Artest and the Pacers?
It's going to be a great matchup. You know, we're ready to play. I know they're excited. They're ready to play. And we're going to see what we can do.
What do you think you can do? What's going to be the biggest challenge facing Indiana?
You know, we got to stop Jermaine O'Neal from coming down, catching the ball in the sweet spot. We got to fight Reggie Miller coming off the screen. and we just got a battle on the board. So it's going to be a nice series.
In the meantime, what does this one mean to you guys, just to be getting to the finals?
I mean, we back to where we was last year. We got to take it one step further. Every year we want to improve on something. So this year we want to try to go a little bit further.
Good luck, Ben. Thanks for stopping.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you guys.
Michelle, the top 2 seeds from the Western Conference have made it to the finals. The top 2 records in the East, Indiana and Detroit, will meet in the Eastern Conference Finals. SportsCenter will come up in a little bit. We're going to take you for the end of overtime, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia. For George Carl, Tom Tobin, Michelle Tafoya, Mike Tirico. See you for Saturday, Game 1 of the Eastern Finals. Thanks for watching this presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Pistons win in 7. Now to Gary Thorne, Bill Clement. Overtime, Game 6.